Well, Lisa Brand, welcome to episode 169, Gracefully and Frankly. And how are you celebrating spring's arrival tomorrow? Are you jumping around in the yard naked or what?
No, after the minus 23 wind chill we had earlier in the week, I'm afraid to go outside.
Oh, but you knew better, right? You knew when it was up in double digits that was just false spring, right?
Right. I know, but then you wake up and see snow and it's freezing again. It's like, oh, for the love of... I remember these kind of winters when we were kids, but they haven't been like this. Not since we've lived here, and we've been here 5 years, so we've had enough.
As you listen to this, I am on my way home to British Columbia. Rob, me, and the two little girls under the seats in front of us and going home, and all is well.
Ah, that's so good. And they're not in heat yet.
Yes, they are. Actually, Livy started. Livy has started, so sometime next week we'll take her in and see how her progesterone levels are and whether it's time to break out the champagne and candlelight. Yep, so everything is timing out perfectly. Oh, I shouldn't even say that, should I?
Why?
Well, you just curse it by saying it, right?
It's better than if it had happened in Mexico, so I think it is timing out perfectly.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, how are you going to find her a boyfriend in Mexico?
Oh, there's plenty. If you walk into nearby Jaratederas, there are all kinds of boys walking around town looking for a little liaison with some foreign girl.
Yeah, but not the kind you want to bring home to mama, not the ones you want your daughter hanging out with.
It seems like forever ago now, but the Oscars Sunday night, you obviously watched Conan's opening.
Oh, yeah.
And the highlight clips and that sort of thing. So we have some thoughts. What's your take home from the Oscars this year?
I was surprised to find that the ratings are on such an upswing because reading about what the Oscars mean anymore in the industry, they really don't mean that much. It used to be it would get you more money and it would get you better jobs, and it just doesn't do that for the actors anymore. So it's just a night of fun, right? I loved anything Conan does that's odd. I didn't like his show so much because I thought he went a little too far sometimes.
Yeah,
but
same.
Yeah, he's just that kind of quirky, just a little bit off. I loved the opening sequence. It was ridiculous. I loved his monologue. I loved how he ended the night. Thought it was a really enjoyable show. There were nice little moments here and there of political statements of 2 words.
Yeah.
And some beautiful moments as well. And some parts of the In Memoriam were just so incredibly touching.
The whole In Memoriam should win an Emmy of its own. It was perfect.
Well, I don't know. They missed a couple people, and this is what I don't get. So I looked up James Van Der Beek and Malcolm Jamal Warner because I knew them from TV, and I didn't know that they actually did movies. But Brigitte Bardot, I mean, why wasn't she mentioned?
And they mentioned Claudia Cardinale, and I thought, okay, Brigitte Bardot has to be next. But could it be they weren't Academy members?
I don't know, but you're right, though. It really was beautiful. If you look at that aside, they did a lovely job. Sometimes it almost seems like an afterthought, and they rush through it. And I thought this really gave some important people their due.
Yes, and it wasn't all about some singer giving it their all while there's pictures of people who've passed. This time, the focus, they broke it down, of course, for Rob Reiner and for Diane Keaton. Robert Duvall might have earned his own spot in that spotlight, but didn't get one. But then, of course, for Barbra Streisand to actually bring her 83-year-old self, who hates live anything, to come out, to pay a tribute to Robert Redford, and then to actually sing. It was perfection.
I love how throaty her voice is now and how it sounds like she's been singing for 100 years. And it's still beautiful, but it's got that wisdom to it.
Yeah. I didn't see a trend in the dresses or anything this year. I've never been a big fan of pink and red, but that Chanel gown that Best Actress Jessie Buckley had on was absolute perfection. Perfection.
Yeah, I agree.
And her speech was, too, to the chaos of a mother's heart. Just absolute perfection.
Yeah.
And for Michael B. Jordan to win. Now, the whole thing about, Michael B. Jordan beat Timothée Chalamet. No, he did not. In my opinion, it wasn't Chalamet's to lose. Did I say Chalamet? Oops, I'm thinking Swiss Chalet. I'm going home to Canada. For Michael B. Jordan to beat Timothée Chalamet, he didn't. It was, I think, Leonardo DiCaprio versus Jordan. Chalamet may have his time. He'll grow up. He'll grow into his fame like DiCaprio eventually did.
It's funny because the odds makers had it Chalamet versus Michael B. Jordan, but the whole narrative that Chalamet lost because he pissed people off and stuff like that kind of takes away from Michael B. Jordan's performance. I didn't see
Right.
Sinners, did you?
No, but I sure am going to. And
Me
listen to
too.
this. Because he plays the twins, Smoke and Stack, one of them, he trained his face to make dimples. How do you even do that?
I don't know.
I know it sounds apocryphal, but I believe this man can do anything. And if you want to find out who he really is, look on Netflix for David Letterman's interview with him.
Yes.
Our next
Yes,
guest needs
yes.
no introduction.
So good. I don't know. Do you poke yourself with a fork for that, or what do you do? It's weird, but good for him.
Well, and I'm not saying that MBJ did that, but celebrities are doing some wild things with their bodies these days, and that was on clear display on Sunday night.
Yeah, we saw a lot of bones and sinew and really, really thin people. And Hollywood women have always been thin, men as well. But there is such a trend this year. This one stylist was talking about it after the Oscars that because, sample sizes from the big designers are size 2, right?
Oh, they used to be 6 or 8.
They're 2 now. The women want to fit into these size 2s because who doesn't want to get the sample? Because everything has sort of, there's a bunch of different factors as to why there's a real trend toward being super thin now. But one of them is that there's a backlash from the big designers over wokeness and body positivity and body acceptance. And they're going, no, you're going to fit into this size 2 or we don't want to deal with you. And the other thing is, designers used to pay the stars years ago. Remember that?
Yes.
They would pay them and say, wear our dress. And now it's flipped the other way around. You don't get to wear our dress unless you've got 2 million followers or whatever.
What?
Yeah, so there's all this kind of stuff going on. It's all to do with the competitiveness of, especially some of the women getting older. There's also a theory that when there's more conservatism in the population, women get thinner for a couple reasons. One is being a really strict conservative means returning to so-called traditional values where the woman is not an equal partner, right?
Mm.
And so women become super thin to take up less space.
Oh, God, Lisa.
They're given less space to occupy. This is a whole theory that this woman I follow on Instagram, she's a former model and she's not model stick thin anymore. And she eats sandwiches and she has a life and she's pregnant with her second child. And this is what she talks about is this radical thinness of women. And of course, what happens on the red carpet, we see as sort of leading the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that we're going to go out and get those dresses, I hope, but
Some of them.
I know. I want to keep my house.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so this whole trend toward being super, super thin, if you want to fit into some amazing designer's frock, you've got to be a size 2. Size 00 apparently is very, very common now.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I remember taking Tabitha, my little sister, bathing suit shopping one time because we were going somewhere on a slide or something. And she was, I don't know, maybe 14. And she was a tiny little thin, gorgeous blonde thing. And I remember her being in the change room and yelling out, "Can you get me something smaller? This 00's way too big." And I went over to the door and I said, "You're going to be murdered." There are women out here in size 22 bathing suits under fluorescent lights hating themselves right now.
Yes.
Please don't yell out that the size 00 is far too big.
That's right. We will attack and eat you, but it won't be good eating.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, speaking of good eating, somebody called the Oscars the Winter Ozempics. and it wasn't far off.
No, so many
Uh,
people, you kind of go, oh, I kind of recognize that face, but I don't know the body,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, like Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
Leonardo DiCaprio stole his mustache. I think that's what happened. Yeah, I didn't recognize Pedro Pascal up there in that white Chanel shirt that had the gorgeous sort of blossom coming off of his chest. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that Michael B. Jordan's tuxedo with kind of the Nehru neck was gorgeous as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Ryan Coogler, who, of course, was the big winner for Sinners. his hair with those tight cornrows, all I could think of was, oh man, how much did that hurt? And then he had a treble clef at the crown of the head, and there was a little guitar, like a national guitar, on the side that had been woven in. Can you even imagine not only the artistry, but the pain that was involved? So it's not just women who were suffering for these Oscars, I'll tell you.
Absolutely true. And the other thing they say that's happening now is microdosing Ozempic and some of those other drugs as well. That instead of taking the full dose, you just take little hits here and there, almost like you're taking, I don't know, a hallucinogenic or something. Not that I would know what that's like.
Well, I don't know what any of it's like. I still remember I posted a picture of myself in a bikini when I first got here. And somebody said, wow, you look terrific. And then a woman, I've never seen her name on my Facebook before, said, that's Ozempic.
It's just sad that somebody automatically has to do that. That's about her, though, you know?
It is, but still, I shouldn't be offended, even though it's been really hard work and a lot of sacrifice. But there's no shame in the Ozempic either.
No.
And what if it was? What if it was?
Yeah, and so what?
That's entirely my business if it was and it wasn't.
Exactly.
And for some people, it's bringing them back from the brink of diabetes. It's helping their joint pain because the less you're carrying, the less your body is working all the time.
No, you're absolutely right. There's no
Ugh.
shame in taking anything like that. So why is she tossing it out as an insult?
Well, maybe she wasn't. Maybe she just thought she knew better.
Okay, if I was to give you the names of all the late night talk shows, most of them are named Jimmy, so it's not that difficult, right?
Thank you. Thanks for that. I got a free spot on the bingo cards.
So I thought I knew who would be on top and who would be not as popular. Even the ratings themselves are small. Remember back when Johnny Carson was on doing The Tonight Show? I mean, he would have the whole continent tuning in pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So they expect a lot less. They get a lot more on streaming. So let's say the Jimmys. There's Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel. There's Seth Meyers, and there's Stephen Colbert. Who would you think is in the lead when it comes to ratings?
Oh, geez. I want to say Kimmel, but you're going to tell me it's Fallon, aren't you?
No,
Good.
It's Colbert.
Wow.
Yeah, Colbert is out ahead by about 200,000 people or so to the next person, and he's just been going up and up since they announced that his show is going down, and is going to be canceled.
Oh, I can't imagine how much time he has to spend on a therapist's couch for what this is doing to him. Like, why me? Why did Kimmel get to come back? Why do I have to leave this when I'm at the peak of my game? Why is it all so unfair? And I really feel for the man.
Well, hopefully he'll have another comeback in some other form, or who knows? I mean, everything's moving to streaming. Even the Oscars are moving to streaming in a few years.
Yes.
So he'll have a future there. Okay, so who's after Colbert then?
Kimmel.
You got it. He's not that far behind, and he has more viewers in that key advertising demographic of 18 to 49. Yeah, he's not that far behind Colbert. So it's Colbert, Kimmel, then there's Seth and Jimmy. Who do you think's next?
Please tell me it's Seth Meyers.
It's not.
Oh.
It might be because of legacy. I'm not sure, but it's Jimmy Fallon. And Seth Meyers is quite far behind. He's in fourth, but by a fair margin. He doesn't even have 1 million viewers a night.
Well, he's so much later. If we're talking about over the airwaves,
Right.
he is so much later. And honestly, Lisa, after the last election, I cut back on my late night viewing so much. I couldn't laugh at it anymore. But then I do watch the clips online. I love Jimmy Kimmel. At home, we record it every night. Colbert, his interviewing has gotten so much better over this last 11 years or however long he's been the late night host on CBS. But doesn't watching Conan remind you of how wrong it was that he didn't have a show? If he just could have played a little bit more in the lines, I think he really might have been what Fallon should have been. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. I think you're bang on with that. But it's funny because his podcast, which is on YouTube, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, is doing everything that he wasn't allowed to do on television, and he's just irreverent and silly. He has great guests. He has Sona, who has been with him like an assistant for years, is on the podcast, and it's almost like a little family, but it's just that goofy, funny, silly stuff.
And he gets real, too. He talks about his grief, losing
Yep.
his parents, losing Rob Reiner, and
Yeah.
And I loved his shout out to Martin Short at the very end of the Oscars. He's just a good man.
He is, and even talking about optimism, and he really seems to grab onto the other person who really needs to be credited for that is Laurie Kilmartin, because she is his go-to writer, and she's a stand-up comic who I've followed for a long time. She's really great, but she's just an excellent writer. She's written for so many shows. So she has a big part in what happened on the Oscars, too.
Part of what I love about Conan's podcast, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, was he did a commercial for a bum wash, and it's like a bidet or something. And Rob and I listened to that over and over. We didn't skip the commercial because it was so entertaining. And that's kind of what we aim for here on Gracefully and Frankly when we talk about our sponsors, Sierra Sil and Envy Pillow. So what do you got for us this week for Envy Pillow, Lisa? Entertain us.
Oh, okay. Well, here, I'll do a little soft shoe. And,
Okay.
well, we won't be talking about those particular parts, but
Wait, I do use it on my bum on the plane. I am not ashamed to say that. It softens the blow of a WestJet seat.
yes, I do as well. And I'll tell you, there's an aspect to the Envy pillow that I don't use very often, but I did this week. You know, when you have an injury like my neck injury, it can come back sometimes to haunt you. No matter what you do, it can just sometimes flare up. And so the Envy pillow is just a little bit difference in height at each side. So the other night I could feel a little bit of muscular sort of discomfort. I switched the Envy pillow around and use the other side for a change. I think my neck was just getting too used to it and wasn't getting the benefit from it as much as it did when I switched it and used the other side. So then when it happens again, I will switch it and use the other side again. And it's just a wonderful thing. It gives you just that little bit of variety in the exact same pillow, and it does the job for me.
And you get that extra platform of foam that comes with it as well.
Yes.
So you can adjust it. You can find out more about Envy Pillow. That's ENVY pillow.com. Canadian company, guaranteed satisfaction. And use the code GF for 10% off. Well done. It was no butt wash, but I liked it. We're talking hygiene. What have you found about toothbrushes? Oh, you're always finding something.
Well, I'll tell you the gross part first, and then I'll tell you the good part afterwards, because there's actually a good ending to this part, because it's a real simple fix. But I don't know about you, but Derek brushes his teeth until the bristles are almost flat. Like he'll use a toothbrush too long, I think.
Right.
And apparently, we're not changing them often enough, but there's a way to do that without spending, so much money on so many toothbrushes. The toothbrush picks up things like, toilet bacteria and viruses can live on it and all sorts of stuff. And they did a study, this was reported by the BBC, something like 12 million bacteria and fungi belonging to hundreds of different species can live on one toothbrush.
Ew, wow.
Yeah, I know. So it is kind of gross. You want to change it regularly, but one of the ideas that they had, put it in a vinegar solution, do this, do that. Throw it in the dishwasher.
Oh, great idea.
Yeah, how brilliant is that? And I think it might have to go on the top if you have one of those little guards that would hold it in.
Sure.
Like, I don't really know. I'm not going to say for sure that it won't melt and stuff won't happen. But what they say, is that the hot water will rid it of most of the problems and make it last longer.
Just go where the cutlery goes. That'd be easy peasy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right.
Make sure that your toothbrush holder is, far on the counter away from where you do your other business and that kinds of stuff. Nobody's really getting sick from it, but do you want that bacteria?
No, thanks. No thanks. Gee, it was good to see Mark Carney out there jogging or running with his wife through Hyde Park in London while visiting the King this week. I mean, isn't it what you'd want to do if you were a runner? Like, yeah, we're doing Hyde Park and nobody's going to get in our way. And Monday was his 61st birthday, and he spent it with the King of England. That's not a bad way to spend your birthday.
Isn't it weird when the prime minister's younger than you? Like, I thought he was older than us, Erin. Like, I
Yeah.
know Trudeau and all these other guys were younger, but I thought he was older than us. Anyway.
No. 61. It is weird. And thanks for bringing the whole show down, Lisa. Jeez.
It's only 2 years.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't think it was just for a photo op. He actually is a runner. But there have been some photo ops and PR fails of late. For one thing, the Prime Minister was not clear on Canada's intention when it came to the U.S. attack on Iran. We don't call it the Iran war because Iran didn't start this thing, the Israel and U.S. attacking Iran. So that was a bit of a PR fail. And then he came out strong and clear. No, we're not supporting you. You guys figure out your own Strait of Hormuz. We're out of here. You said you don't need anything from us.
Right, right.
But we've seen, on a much lighter note, a PR fail that just fell flatter than a drive-through bag that fell off the back seat of your car.
That's right. The CEO of McDonald's trying their new Arch Burger. This video went viral because he looked like he'd never eaten a burger before. He pulled this burger out and, you know, when you go to jump into a burger, you take a big bite, especially if you want to sell them and want to make them look good. And he took this little dainty bite of it. I don't know. What is he doing? Eating quinoa and tofu every day and the burger grosses him out?
No, it looked like if King Charles tried it for the first time.
Wouldn't Charles have somebody come in and cut it up with a knife and fork for him, though?
That's true, like Trump did with pizza in New York. Remember that whole brouhaha? Pizza with a knife and fork in New York? Are you kidding me?
I saw the perfect meme that maybe has something to do with this McDonald's CEO. Like maybe his jaw doesn't open very far. It was about burgers, and it's why do chefs keep making them taller and taller and taller? Like, my jaw doesn't dislocate like a serpent.
Right.
Why not make them bigger and bigger like a Frisbee? Doesn't that sound better?
And you eat your way to the middle. Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's ridiculous. And of course, you and I have done those burgers where they wrap them in a lettuce leaf, which is, you'd better have a complete tarp on the table and on yourself because that stuff is going everywhere, but it's worth it.
It is worth it. And I think they're still cleaning up at that Carl's Jr. in Puerto Vallarta where we had those lettuce wrap burgers. Oh my goodness. It was so messy. We looked like two kids who were finger painting.
Yes, that's exactly it. But it's worth it. So other companies jumped on this. I love the A&W guy because he looked like he eats his burgers. And it looked fantastic, and their burgers are great, and it's Canadian, so support A&W.
Well, it's putting the guy in charge out front again where he's got no one around him probably to say, you know, this probably isn't a good idea. Or no one around him to say, you know, when you take a bite, take a big chomp. They just figure he knows everything. He's the boss. Who's going to tell him, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, we've seen Michael Bentley in the ads for Sierra Sil. In fact, I saw that you shared one on our Gracefully and Frankly threads. Michael Bentley is the guy who is behind Sierra Sil, these all-natural Canadian minerals, joint sprays, and pet chews. And he hikes a lot. He and his wife, Leslie, are so active. He's in his 60s, and he believes in it because it works. It works for him. It works for us. It works for thousands and thousands of Canadians and people around the world. And something occurred to me when a friend, Catherine, was down here from Burlington. She mentioned that in the heat here, Lisa, in Puerto Vallarta, it's because the fluid in her joints is finally thawing and it can do what it needs to do. While it's still cold, while you're planning on gardening, when it does get warmer and going out and just enjoying nature or even walking, whatever you're doing, start Sierra Sil. Join Formula 14 now. And we'll even give you a discount because it comes with a guarantee.
It does. If it doesn't do something good for you within 14 days, you get your money back. Go to the website, sierrasil.com, Sierra like the mountains, SIL.com, and use the code GF for 14% off.
Well, this has been fun this week. Of course, as we speak next week for episode 170, you're getting closer to your travels to Europe, which I understand have changed. You're no longer going to be visiting Budapest.
Right. No Hungary. There's some political unrest there right now. The
Yeah.
guy in charge is talking about canceling the election, and that's not going over well. So we just thought, you know what? We'll go to Prague instead. And everybody's like, Prague's amazing. So I guess we did a good thing.
How hard has it been to change your reservations, or did you protect everything?
Protected everything hasn't been difficult at all. Just a few minutes searching and picking and booking and
Clicking.
yeah, exactly. Although the travel is going to be a little different. We were going to take a plane to Budapest, and we have to take a bus and a train combo to Prague.
Oh, I think that's going to be neat, don't you think?
I hope so.
Yeah. Planes, trains, automobiles, the whole thing.
Yeah, it's all an adventure. We'll see.
Well, we're still going to have Gracefully and Frankly's while you're gone. Everything's going to be just the same, if not better. So we'll look forward to that. And of course, what would an episode of Gracefully and Frankly be without This Week in Totally Stupid or Twits? We have a few people that we have just loved over the years who've turned out to be total twits. I'm thinking of Keith Urban, unfortunately. But this week, I think it's Twits Hall of Fame. So much heartbreak. Hugh Jackman is this week's twit. Oh,
All right. What did he do again? Did he go to Mar-a-Lago?
he had his picture taken with Ivanka and Jared, and it turns out they're friends.
Yeah. Since long before Daddy got into the Oval Office. Yeah.
And he says that they don't discuss politics. How can you not? You're out having coffee with Eva Braun and you're not going to ask what her husband's up to? I'm sorry. That just doesn't float. And I adore Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Had the chance to meet him in person, had a somewhat meaningful conversation. I don't know what to do with these thoughts, Lisa. Help me.
I don't know. I mean, you notice his girlfriend, Sutton Foster, did not go.
Yeah.
She knew what the optics would be like. And I don't know. I guess you just have to let that one go. He's made his choice. I mean, when's the last time you invited him for dinner?
Well, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the greatest no-show man when I invited him, so. Oh,
Well,
Hugh.
it's too bad, but everybody's got friends, even the worst person you know.
Like when Kurt Russell showed up at the Kennedy Center Honors and Sylvester Stallone. We know Stallone's a Trumper or MAGA. And you go, oh, Kurt, not you too. And then you go, well, wait a minute. So it's all very confusing. Nothing is black and white. And you know what? I don't think it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. What do you do if you have a historical friendship, then the world catches fire? I really don't know.
And so on that note of not knowing and being comfortable with it, because we have to be, right? We have choices.
That's right.
Happy spring tomorrow. Okay, the vernal equinox, everything is going to turn from here. It won't be fast. We know the weather doesn't care, but it's going to be spring, and that's certainly something to look forward to.
You got it. And welcome home to you.
Ah.
And may you, the dogs, and Robbie have a nice settling in time and then do whatever the heck you want.
Well, you know, tomorrow my first appointment is in the hair chair.
Yes.
And then off to meet our new cabin. So, yeah, I'm very excited to be going home. Yeah, so glad that you got to spend some time here in Nuevo Vallarta. And you made this house a home for me. So thanks for the visit.
You know, feels like it almost didn't happen. It feels so long ago, but I know I was there. There are pictures.
There are, and you can find them all on our Gracefully and Frankly Facebook page, or go to gracefullyandfrankly.com, shop around a little bit there, buy yourself something nice, or buy us something nice. The buy us a coffee icon is down in the bottom left, or leave us a voicemail. Use that little microphone. We love to hear from you. Okay, my love, I'm off to the airport, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, safe travels.
Thanks. Bye.